When you're manifesting, do you keep an eye on the outside world? Do you try to ignore what's going on in the reality around you? If you do any of these things, then you should watch this video. In this video, I'll explain why you don't have to pay attention to your outside world. When you want to make something happen, I will try to take your mind off of the limitations of the outside world so that you can live the wonderful life you want. First of all, let's talk about what outer world is and what inner world is. Your external reality is what you can see, hear, touch, smell, reality, and feel. Your internal reality, on the other hand, is subjective and based on your internal senses. Most of the time, Neville called internal reality imagination. He also said that God is your awareness, consciousness, and imagination. Also, we learned that the outside reality is not something separate from us, nor is it something that happens on its own. On the other hand, external reality is what happens and is affected by our internal reality. Before we knew this, we lived our lives the wrong way around. Our outer reality, how we feel, and how we think were all affected by our inner reality. What we went through in our lives left an impression on us, which changed how we saw reality. We kept having the same thing happen to us over and over again. Then we learned about the idea of manifestation, and someone told us that we could change our lives, break out of our limitations, and have a different experience if we changed how we felt inside. They just told us that we don't have to let the outside world control us. Instead, we can change it. I'll show you how to do it. To help you understand more, you should know that ice is a solid form of water that turns into a liquid when it is heated. When heated more at higher temperatures, it turns into steam. When it cools down, it turns back into a liquid. When we cool it down more, it goes back to being a solid. Can you see how when the state of water changes, it just changes its shape? It's not like heating it can turn it from a solid to steam and then change it go away. It stays in its airy form, but when it cools, it turns into a liquid and then back into a solid. It also shows that a change in the opposite direction is possible. So things going on outside of you can affect how you feel inside. Reality can change from the inside out, but it can also work the other reality around. When consciously manifesting something, we must always pay attention to our internal reality, which is a reflection of our external reality. If we want change to manifest, we must first focus on something inside that is different from what our outside reality is showing us. Only then will it show up in our outside reality. When you understand this, you'll be more conscious of what's going on inside you, since what's inside is what's outside, and only the outside has started to change. Your attention is always moving, so when you change what was going on inside you at the time, no one notices. At first, you think you have what you want. Then you desire to think about how it will happen, and then you start to think about why it won't happen. At the same time, the real reality changes, but the thought you're focusing on will come to you if you don't let your mind wander. When you realize that you are not your body or your mind, but rather consciousness, you will realize how easy it is to make changes. Everything will change to match the ideas you have about yourself. So if you keep your attention on the outside world and keep looking at it, you are letting what you see in the outside world affect who you are inside. It's never a question of seeing what's going on outside or not. When the inner self changes, our expression changes, and things show up on the outside. It's always about looking inside and paying attention to the version inside. When you keep telling yourself that you are who you want to be, the outside world changes in ways that our body-bound senses can't see. Don't waste your time by looking at and ignoring the outside reality. We don't have to ignore it. When you realize that what's inside of you is much more real than what's on the outside, don't worry about how long it will take, because if you're thinking that way, it hasn't happened yet. The inside is a result of the outside, so pay attention to what you're doing inside. Let people say whatever they want about you. They are just telling you who you are. If they don't match your expectations, take that as a sign that you need to keep going in your new state. Just like water changes shape when it's heated and cooled, you can change your reality by changing your state of being. The length of time it takes for your assumption to become true and your wish to come true is directly related to how natural it feels to you to be and have what you want. Everyone needs to start meditating. It should be done every so often. I've noticed that when I do my meditation practice and focus on my breath work, even for short amounts of time, something magical happens that gives me clarity and makes all of my desires come true right away. Something magical is something that our logical minds can't understand. And sometimes our logical minds can't understand things. It starts to seem mysterious and magical. Exeter. What you think you are is just an idea you have about yourself. To find out who you really are, you have to get past this idea. That's a whole different thing. It is a spiritual process to break free from this physical body. But I know that a lot of you don't care about it right now. Your main reality is how to manifest your desires come true. Their desired object showed up in their real reality. When people see this for the first time, they think it's some kind of magic. But trust me, it's not. Because our minds are good at analyzing. It looks like something from beyond. Our minds are set up to try to understand everything. But our minds can only see the physical, so they can't understand how manifestation works. This is because manifestation involves some use of our imagination, which is not a physical imagination. At first glance, manifesting something into our lives seems like an impossible reality. But when we use our imagination on purpose, we can go beyond the limits of our physical senses. All we have to do is imagine ourselves as what we want to be and stay there for longer. It does this by leaving an impact on the part of our mind that brings things into our reality. As long as we keep feeling like our wishes are coming true, it becomes true. When you look at the facts, the only reality that makes you different from me is what you believe. On the inside, we are the same. Everything in this world is made up of water, earth, fire, air, and space. However, our reality seems different because of the ideas we have identified with. These ideas shape our self-concepts, which in turn affect how we act. We think based on what we believe about ourselves, and how our bodies and minds act in this world is based on what we think about ourselves. So, if your goal in life is to get something physical, your self-concept needs to match that goal. Let's assume you want to manifest a lot of wealth. Now, you and I have different ideas about what a lot means. The feeling of having it would be different for each of us, just as it is different for each of us. Now, when Neville Goddard says to assume the feeling of a wish coming true, he means to feel like you already have that feeling. Just sit with yourself and imagine that you already have it. You must now live with this feeling and hold on to it until it takes over your feeling. There is a feeling, a mood, of a wish coming true somewhere in this world of your imagination that, if you can get it, will represent success to you. Don't worry about the details, because they will be taken care of. I've found that practicing meditative really helps me on my path. First of all, it has nothing to do with the law of attraction. Getting good at meditative is a surefire way to hit diamonds in your life. There are many methods you might be able to learn how to meditate, and the one that helps me the most is just to sit in a comfortable place and focus on my breath. I've noticed that when it goes in and out of my body, nothing else matters to me. When you do it for the first time, your mind will tell you all kinds of silly things about how you are wasting your time, but it is not a waste of time. Breathing is one of the most important parts of life. If you can't breathe, you can't live. Just pay attention to what it says. Now that you are part of life, you will learn a lot about it. At first, it will help you see things more clearly. The second thing it will do is keep your mind on what you are doing. To get what you want, you need to be clear about what you want and keep your mind on the state of having your wish come true. I think we should do things with all of our hearts, since doing things half-heartedly will only lead to doubt. I live in the extremes. Either I do something with all my heart, or I don't do it at all.